Hello, my name is Lula Shore, and the slides that I will be posting is talking about racial discrimination to minority families, referring to housing, U.S. federal housing and policies, laws in the urban area, uh, using the ecological system theory. Historical discrimination in U.S. housing policy, particularly discrimination against Black Americans, is one of the chief drivers of racial inequalities that persist today. The roots of racial inequality in this country runs deep, but often is overlooked for the more recent federal, state, and local housing policies that for decades denied Black households equal access to mortgage financing, neighborhoods with quality schools, neighborhood investments, and federal ownership made available made available to white households. Some policies like local zoning codes and federal mortgage interest deductions continue to disadvantage Black households and those with lower incomes generally. So this is to say that it was part of U.S. History and policy that you know blacks and other minorities weren't getting certain financial loans to buy affordable housing, and this helped shape the way the neighborhoods look, even minority neighborhoods, especially in the urban areas, how they look today. Um, Starting back even in the 1930s, the Federal Housing Act Administration, began ensuring private loans that will be ultimately help millions of white families obtain affordable low down payments mortgages to join the middle class. These insurance policies were insured particularly to because it was part of the policy that they couldn't be in black neighborhoods, and that even when the people received these loans, that if they will ever sell their homes, they couldn't sell to black and other minority families. Um, it was a policy of shaping these neighborhoods called redlining, and this is kind of like they were drawing neighborhoods to map to the way they wanted them. So if you wanted to receive a loan, if you wanted to receive some assistance for housing, you couldn't be in certain colored or minority neighborhoods. Anytime you had a certain number of influx of black people or other minorities in the community, they were labeled as unsafe to lend to. Um, so this has really helped shape the way that the urban area kind of like looks today, even generationally years later. Um, uh, in the 1940s, the FHA, the Federal Housing Authority, accelerated their discrimination against minorities and other black families. This is even it was even more perpetuated by later on. We have the the GI Bill. So after World War II, you have black veterans who served the country proudly. You had the federal government. They were returning home from war without subsidies and the low interest rates. So once again, you have whites and other non-minorities. They were able to get GI Bills. They were able to come in and to get affordable homes after they came home from war. deservedly so, but you see a whole another community of people that were left out of this. So you have black men and women and other minority groups who fought and died for this country, and to come home to this discrimination and not, you know, not have the fair housing policies that they were intended to have. Race-based exclusion from the FHA insured mortgages, FHA subsidies, subsidized suburbs, and the GI Bill put black and white households on very different tracks. Between 1934 and 1962, households of color received just 2% of all government black mortgages. In the decades that follow, black families gained none of the equity appreciation that white homeowners would gain through access to new communities and these on-ramp affordable home ownerships. So this is still a problem that we're finding today in this country because, you know, in the past that this generationally the practice of discriminating against minorities for housing has been an issue in the country in the United States.